Ron, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing very good, yeah. I think we're going to need a little milk in the booth instead of coffee, though, after listening to that again.
Did a great job, and you called it. And
yes.
It was a fun night to be at Wrigley Field. I don't know, Coom. You were around, obviously, during the whole 15, 16, 17 run. It's hard to imagine, or for me to remember, a crowd that into it that early and that persuasive, or having an effect on the outcome that even Pat Murphy referenced postgame.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Yeah, so I would say in this playoff series, in this playoff season, Game 3 against San Diego was a lot like that. And yesterday's game, the last 2 games in Wrigley have been that way. You can't knock 2 days ago too. They were into the game, but yesterday there was actually another element that our fans chanting Freddie.
Right.
I was like, wow, we even brought it to another level. It was pretty funny. So they were into the game, and I really believe there were a few factors, but that is definitely one of them at the start of the game to put pressure on the opposing team and really on Peralta. That's a tough environment to play in. It really is.
And we talked about, how they were going to get there, what they were going to do. The reality is they slugged their way there. And I don't know that we have been able to see that. We haven't seen them. We've seen them score in the first inning. We haven't seen them really add on as they did. And we haven't seen the kind of power show that they got last night, which was almost kind of it was almost calming in a way, because it had been so long since you saw them score more than 3. They get 4. Now they get 6. It just made things feel better because of where the power was coming from.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I had mentioned this on the broadcast about Tuck, getting some hits and spraying the ball around the field. And then, the biggest thing to me is the Tucker home run going, to center, but kind of left center-ish. That means his swing is getting better and better. And, he's staying through the ball. And, if the Cubs are going to do anything tomorrow and in Los Angeles and playing the Dodgers, if they get through tomorrow, you got to have him be a star player. That's why he came here. That's what you need. And this is his time to shine, and he did yesterday for sure. But you can see his swing getting better, right? He took the walk in the middle of the game, and that was vintage Tuck, borderline pitches he wasn't offering. But the other thing, Mike, that we talked about yesterday morning, when you see a pitcher for the second time in a week, I don't care how good they are, it helps. It helps the hitter. That's advantage hitter. Now, pitchers may say, well, I saw the hitters too. You did. But when you're a guy with that kind of stuff, at least the hitters now know exactly how you're attacking them and what they're going with. And that I think, helped the Cubs hitters. And they really did a good job extending the at-bats after the first inning. Even though they didn't do much against Peralta right away, they still extended the at-bats, and they pushed his pitch count to where Murph had to get him out of there after 4 innings.
Coom, Michael Busch has more home runs than anybody in the postseason, and you have referred to him accurately as the hottest hitter in baseball right now. I wonder this: what has changed, or what adjustments has he made to make that possible? And also, cringe as I say this, what if the Brewers started lefty tomorrow night?
Brewers started lefty tomorrow. You put Michael Busch right up there at the top of the lineup.
Good. Yes.
First
Agreed.
or second. I don't know.
Okay.
He's showing that, he just missed a couple home runs against lefties as the game's progressed. He's got to play. I said this, at the end of the day, you're playing. He is the hottest hitter in baseball right now. I can't imagine anybody being better, because when you throw a fastball to him in the zone and you don't make a great pitch with it, he's whacking the dog out of it. He just is. And if it goes out of the park, great, but he's putting the barrel on it every time. He's got to play. He's just doing too well. You can't ignore that. To me, also, he's one of those guys. his swing is getting simpler and simpler, David, to the point where, it's a short swing. It's direct to the ball. He's above the ball, going to the ball, and making contact out in front of home plate. These are all things we talk about in a cage, not usually on air. But when you do that, all of a sudden you're in that super hitting zone of where you want to make contact to maximize your power, everything. It's the pitcher's job to keep you out of that area where you want to make contact. They can't do it to him because he's not chasing. You look at his at-bats, most of them, he just spits on all these tough pitches around the strike zone. And then you make the mistake like that kid did yesterday, and bam, he crushes you. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch a really good guy like him have this kind of success, because he's so calm and yeah, well, I'm just hitting the ball. He's kind of that Minnesota nice guy, but he's having a heck of a second half of the year, boy. Wow.
All right, I can't believe we're halfway through our conversation with you and we haven't gotten to the point yet. What is your answer to the money question? Who do you start if you're making the call, Ron?
Did we go with Johnny Holstaff yesterday when we were talking? Did we go with that guy?
We did.
We did. I'm going to guess. I don't know if counts. He was not. He was non-committal yesterday afternoon. I would say he is probably going to go with someone other than Shota, would be my guess. Yeah. I would think it's probably going to be Colin Ray, is my guess. It's not my decision. That's a guess.
That's kind of the right call, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Shota's been so out of form, and it doesn't matter how you want to paint it. The reality is that he came out of that game. He said, I ruined the game. I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing I love about Shota. Shota is going to take the ball and pitch, and always. But he's a team, he wore that. When you make a statement like that, Mike, to me as his teammate, you're like, this guy is all in with us. Not with him, with us, right? That's a statement that you make when you just want to win games, right? So I tip my hat to him, and I've told you all along, I am a huge Shota fan. I really am. But his key pitch is the split finger. And right now, he is having a really tough time commanding his split. He just doesn't have the feel for it. And that happened early in the year also, where he was throwing it and it was running sideways on him. And I asked him, I remember we were in a hotel lobby, and I asked him, what's the issue with the split? And he goes, it's going sideways. And I, through his interpreter, I said, yes, I see that. What do you do? And he's saying, I'm trying to get on top of it to get it to go downhill. And he's just having a hard time with it. And, it's kind of the same thing right now. He is not a fastball curveball pitcher. He is not. The curveball is a pitch that he uses, or breaking ball, to steal a strike once in a while. He can't be a fastball curveball pitcher.
Coom, some speculation surrounds the idea that he's tipping pitches, or that the Brewers were detecting something and knew what he was throwing. What are you seeing? What are you buying?
I think there's part of that. There's no doubt. He has done that in the past. I have heard that rumor go around baseball, and said something to Counts. Counts was, when I mentioned it to him, he was more aware of it by far than I was, so there was no issue. Cubs are fully aware. Counts and his staff are doing a good job self-scouting, especially with Shota. But at the end of the day, the way he pitches, David, with his two key pitches, you still have to hit them. You have to hit the up and in fastball. That is not easy to do. I don't care if you tell the guy it's coming. And then the split, because your eyes say fastball, and then the ball backs up on you with the split, and that's just the way it is. So it's difficult. That's why he does so well. But if he doesn't have that split and he goes to the hook, that's where he has trouble. And that's not something he has gone to much, even in Japan. So that's the issue. I think he could be tipping at times, and teams could have it, but I don't think that's the major issue. I see, the split finger being the major issue from the hitter's perspective. That's my perspective.
I'm curious, what do you believe they do? I mean, I'm not even sure. They're kind of in a similar position. Could they start Quintana for an inning and then try to go to the Miz again? What do you anticipate the Brewers doing?
I looked yesterday, Mike, just kind of the simplest thing you can do. I just went online as I'm, doing all the research for the games, and I'm like, okay, just look at their depth chart of their club. Okay, let's look at their roster, and if we win and you pitch Peralta, what do they do? Because they've had two bullpen games now in this playoff against us.
Yeah.
Game 2, full bullpen game. Then they go with Priester. That didn't work. He's out in the first inning, so now you got a second bullpen game. I think what you're saying is exactly right. I think you have to lean on that young kid, Mizrachi, to give you serious innings. And I think Q is going to play a big factor too. Quintana, you'd probably, because of his experience, I would say Murph will probably start him. If you're concerned about that Mizrachi, like the crowd and just getting him too much into a frenzy where he can probably come into the game out of the pen. But that's my take. When I looked at their depth chart and I started, evaluating where they're at, and then with the innings that all these guys have thrown now in this playoff, I think that's the 1 and 2, and you could flip them either way, however he likes that situation for them. But I think that's the 1 and 2. I really do.
Matt Shaw was somebody that you talked about going into last night, and he had some results. Did he, I don't want to say take your advice, but did he make those adjustments? He must have done something right, Coom, because he did come through in a way that he hasn't before. First hit since September 26th.
Yeah, he did better, that's for sure. He hit a pitch, off-speed pitch, way down, and, looped one over the middle. I just think for Matty, at the end of the day, right now, if you think you're going to make a lot of changes in your stroke and what you're doing in playoff time, that's a tall order, man. There's just too much adrenaline going on to do a lot of that, especially for a young kid that's just starting his big league career. But he did get, at the end of the day right now, David, do something to help your team win. He did. He's making plays, and he got on base, 3 or 4 times? 4 times last night. If he walks, if he gets a base hit behind the runner, get a bunt down, whatever you can do to help your team be a winning player, steal a bag like he did, that was a big play. Stole third base. Awesome. Anything you can do to help your team win, I think he's one of those guys. It's just the hitting part right now is he needs some work. He needs some help controlling the movement of his eyes, in his head. That's a tough way to hit.
Kyle Tucker, back-to-back 2-game hits, got himself a home run, first since September 2nd. That was the day before he had the left calf strain that he's still kind of coming back from. Do you see him differently after the last couple of games?
Yes, I do. I saw a happy guy in the Cubs dugout after the home run. He actually smiled. Tuck's pretty stoic, as you guys both know when you see him, but he was actually smiling in the Cubs dugout after the home run, and I'm like, there you go. That's but the only way you can get that smile is from, result-based, right? You're not smiling when you're hooking a ground ball to the second baseman or you're punching out. You're just not. Been there. That's no fun. There are no smiles then. To me, though, the key is where he hit the home run. He didn't hook this ball down the right field line. He pounded one to the middle. And that means your swing is even that much better. The swing itself was really good to drive that ball to left center field and hit it with the authority he did. That's a great sign for the Cubs that, he's getting closer to being right back on track.
So, Coom, I think last night Ian Happ hit that home run, and I think that was so key for him, and you think he's the guy that you need to step up, among others. He had been in a slump What do you think? Every guy that we're asking about is like, well, they haven't hit because they've had some key guys who have been absent too often. But in his case, was it just rising to the occasion, a mistake by Peralta? Because that was the biggest hit, and that was maybe the biggest home run of his career.
Yeah, that was Pat's comment too in the broadcast, that might be the biggest home run he's hit in his career. I don't disagree. I think for Ian, the whole key is getting strikes, right? They're living at the top of the zone against him. They're throwing enough strikes to where, he's getting in tough counts. And yesterday with Peralta, that pitch was belt high. It wasn't, right at the top of his, like his stomach or, midsection. It was down in the zone about belt high, and he was able to get on top of it. For Ian, if he gets fastball, he's going to get fastballs. He's just got to, hopefully try to get zone them down a little bit to keep them in the zone. When you're trying to hit 95, 96 to 100, and they're swinging at pitches at the very top of the zone or above, well, good luck trying to make any money doing that. That's almost impossible.
One of the things he said in the post game was that, basically he knew how Peralta had pitched him before and how he got him out. And it's kind of what you're talking about, facing a guy again. But it seemed like, and you love hearing it, like he's kind of playing the game along with the pitcher, and he knows how the guy's going to come for him, and he could attack a little bit better. And so he gets this hit, he hits this home run, and it just, I'm happy for the guy because, God, he was really having a frustrating playoff.
He was. There's no doubt. And they kept pitching him the same way.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
It's difficult. The hard part is what really bugs hitters is when you understand what they're doing to you and you don't have an answer for it. That used to drive me just crazy. And, yesterday, him doing some damage against Peralta really could change the program for Ian, just to get him, back, squaring the ball up on the barrel and, and all those good things that hitters need. And he's going to see a bunch of high fastballs again tomorrow. That's just the way it is. No doubt. If he can zone them back down, he's going to do okay.
Coom, enjoy your day of preparation, relaxation, whatever you're doing today, because you got a big one tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm glad we're still working, guys. That's for sure. We were kind of chuckling walking out of the ballpark, with all the ushers and everybody and Keith and I'm like, we're still working. So that's a good thing. Absolutely.
Great stuff, Ron. Thank you, buddy. Great catching up.
Yep. Have a great weekend, boys, and hopefully we're gonna be on a plane to LA in about a little over 48 hours.
That'd be cool. Thanks, Coom.
That is Ron Coomer. Great stuff from him.